Elections often come down to enthusiasm, and right now the enthusiasm gap widely favors the Democrats. In state after state after state, Democratic voters are turning out in massive numbers compared to Republicans, even smashing some records in the process. The Associated Press notes that in last week's primary, Wisconsin Democrats cast nearly 800,000 ballots. That's their highest total for a midterm in more than 20 years. Take a look at this chart. It tells the story. In that Wisconsin primary, Democrats outperformed Republicans by more than 300,000 voters. In Michigan, a week earlier, Democrats set a midterm record with nearly 1.5 million Democratic voters coming out versus 931,000 Republicans. And in North Carolina, Georgia, and Texas, it was the same, with Democrats outvoting Republicans. Now, in Ohio and Iowa, Republicans did narrowly outvote Democrats, but registered Republicans vastly outnumber Democrats in both of those states. For example, Ohio has nearly 700,000 more registered Republicans than Democrats, but the GOP advantage in the primary was only 24,000. Iowa has 184,000 more active Republicans, but the GOP advantage in the primary was only 15,000. So with the midterms only 78 days away, the head of the Democratic Party, Ken Martin, wants to take advantage of that enthusiasm gap. And he says the mantra is simple: all gas, no brakes. And that's the message I heard from state party chairs across the country who spoke to me on Friday as they finished up the DNC's summer meeting in Austin, Texas, before heading out to face the competitive, consequential, and most expensive set of midterm races ever. We discussed the key issues shaping the elections, including the occasionally bitter divide in the party between moderates and progressives, the rare sight of Republican voters pulling the lever for Democrats, as well as the very real fears state party chairs have about the threats to the elections and to democracy itself.
I'm terrified, frankly, of what this administration is going to do.
Terrified.
I am terrified of what the Republican administration in Texas and in D.C. will do when the voters show up and vote them out. And so I'm working every day to build the largest voter protection team that we have ever had in Texas, to make sure that we have attorneys and activists on the ground ready to respond.
I think we all have to be prepared for that, right? I don't think it's a fear. I think it's a reality.
Joining me now, Basil Smikle, former executive director of the New York State Democratic Party and MS Now political analyst. Amy McGrath is founder of Democratic Majority Action PAC and retired U.S. Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel. She is also a former Marine fighter pilot who was the first woman to fly a combat mission for the Marines. Thank you for your service, and thank you both for being here. Amy, let me ask you about this, because what these Democratic leaders described to me was essentially going to war. They have war rooms. They're trying to game out what are the most likely challenges that they're going to face going into November, on Election Day, after Election Day. Are they right to be worried?
Well, I think they are right to be worried. I mean, the president has, done some things in the past that we all didn't think would happen that actually happened. I mean, I'm talking about January 6th, for one thing. So, I think it's really important that that all leaders of the Democratic Party make sure that we protect the vote. And, one of the things that I'm worried about is the president's use of the National Guard. They've been laying the groundwork, shall we say, to justify the use of the National Guard or our military around polling places to intimidate people. So I do think Democratic leaders have to look at everything right now, but also focus on the message and getting the right candidates in these positions for these states to really be competitive.
Yeah, you're not alone in that, Basil. Several of the folks I talked to talked about the National Guard. They talked about ICE. Yep. One of them put it to me this way. He said, where we are right now is that the biggest threat to free and fair elections are the president of the United States and the federal government. Is he right?
Yeah, I think so. And Amy's right as well. I mean, when you think about the ways in which this president uses ICE, he funded billions of more dollars into that agency to do pretty much whatever he wants them to do. So when you consider that ICE could be standing at polling sites, you have 1,000, from what I saw today in a report, 1,000 volunteer attorneys that DOJ is sending out to monitor polling places. I wonder where those polling places are. They're likely not in rural and suburban communities. They're likely in urban communities with a lot of black and brown voters. So the whole point is intimidation. The whole point is to sow fear in the electorate. But on the other hand, you've got this incredible turnout, which you reported on. And it's almost like he doth protest too much. You keep talking about voter fraud. What's likely happening is that voters are saying, well, you're the one that's going to be engaged in it. You're going to be the one suppressing it. So let's get out, double our efforts, and make sure that vote is protected.